The Japanese occupation of the Philippines brought about events related to the relationship between Japan and United States. Let's go back to the past. This is a tale of brutal war crimes, intense island and urban warfare, and unmatched Filipino courage and sacrifice to save their home. Today, we're going to deep dive into how and why the Empire of Japan invaded the Philippines. Japan went through tremendous problems during the Depression that the country suffered from failing economy. Poverty became widespread, especially in the provinces. The Japanese government thought they had to do something to solve their economic problem. They need to expand their territory to get resources to meet their shortage. They began to conquer neighboring countries such as Manchuria, China, Korea, Formosa, and other countries in Asia. They received negative reactions from various countries, including the United States. The United States cut off its imports of oil and steel to Japan. Japan is very dependent on these goods because their country does not produce these resources, and they need it, especially for military equipment. And the only solution they thought of was to conquer the countries in Southeast Asia, which is currently part of the European colony. They thought that these countries were focused on fighting Germany and Italy, and the only country that can stop them is the United States. So the Japanese planned an attack. December 7, 1941, Japanese forces attacked Pearl Harbor. Thousands of people were killed and injured. December 8, 1941, President Franklin Roosevelt declared war against Japan. General Douglas MacArthur was sent to the Philippines. After they attacked the Pearl Harbor, they next attacked the Philippines, which was a colony of the United States at that time. It was 10 hours after the Pearl Harbor was bombed. The Japanese attack was not expected by the Philippine government. One by one, they attacked the island in the country until they attacked Manila, the capital. This is the beginning of the Second World War in Asia. Due to the sheer numbers of Japanese, the American Filipino force was unable to do anything but to exile to Bataan and Corregidor. Manila was declared an open city to prevent its complete destruction. January 2, 1942, the Japanese soldiers have occupied Manila, while Manuel L. Quezon, the president at that time, and Sergio Osmeña, the vice president, were with some forces exiled to Corregidor. They soon went to the United States, where they built a government in exile. How did Bataan fall into the hands of the Japanese? For almost 3 months, the Joint American Force fought Japanese under the command of Major General Edward King Jr. In the month of February, the American Filipino forces were completely weakened due to hunger and also their lack of military equipment. On March 11, 1942, President Roosevelt ordered General MacArthur to leave the Philippines to head to Australia. It was there that he uttered the famous line, "I shall return." On April 3, 1942, Lieutenant General Masahiro Homa, commander of the Japanese Imperial Forces, ordered the attack on the American Filipino force. On April 6, 1942, the Great War began at Mount Samat. Due to hunger, disease, weakness, and lack of equipment, the American Filipino forces were forced to surrender to the Japanese on April 9, 1942. This was the day Bataan fell to the hands of the Japanese. There were 76,000 American Filipino troops that surrendered. All the surrendered soldiers were forced to walk about 100 kilometers from Bataan to San Fernando, Pampanga. This is a display of the brutality of the Japanese forces. Around 10,000 soldiers died while walking due extreme heat, fatigue, pain, and wounds. The few left in the line are shot, beheaded, and stabbed with the use of bayonets. The Japanese soldiers became very violent with their captives. This is the so-called Death March. When President Roosevelt ordered General MacArthur to leave the Philippines and go to Australia, the command of the troops was left to Lieutenant General Jonathan Wainwright. He led the army in the Corregidor, while King led Bataan. The Imperial Japanese Army's suppression of areas in the countries continues. Now their focus is on the island of Corregidor. At first, Lieutenant General Wainwright did not want to surrender, while the island is being bombarded by Japanese forces. They surrounded it and cut off any aid and supplies it received from the United States. It was the night of May 5, 1942, when Japanese troops attacked the Malinta Tunnel, where there were several thousand patients and nurses. To prevent the massacre, Wainwright had to surrender the troops to the Japanese. One by one, the combined forces of the United States and the Philippines fell into the hands of the Japanese until it finally conquered the country. In the next video, we will show how the Philippines finally got their independence from the Japanese and Americans. But the big question now is it alright for the Japanese to conquer Southeast Asian countries for their personal gain? Leave down your comments below in the comment section. Please like and subscribe for more videos like this. See you next time.